There's nothing more painful than realizing a once strong connection between two people is fading. But how do you know when it's truly over? Often, a woman won't explicitly state her decision to leave, yet there are undeniable signs. Let's explore 6 subtle but telling signals that indicate her readiness to end the relationship, and of course, discuss what can be done in such a situation. Don't wait until your heart is shattered. Learn to recognize these precursors to a breakup in advance and understand their true meaning. Today, we'll delve into one of the most sensitive topics in relationships, the moment a woman decides to leave. No matter how strong the bond once was, there comes a point when everything begins to crumble like a house of cards. Even if she doesn't voice it, her actions, words, and behavior speak for themselves. This article will examine 6 key indicators that she's no longer interested in continuing the relationship. We're not talking about major arguments or heated disputes, but rather subtle shifts in her behavior and attitude that signal her feelings are fading. By the end of this analysis, you'll know exactly what to look for and what these signals truly mean. This isn't about guesswork, it's about understanding the signs to take control of the situation, attempt to salvage the relationship, or move on before it's too late. So, the first red flag is a sharp reduction in communication. In the early stages of your relationship, conversations flowed freely, whether through messages, phone calls, or in-person meetings. You always had common topics to discuss, but now everything has changed. Suddenly, her replies become rarer and slower. She might not respond for hours, or even days, to a simple message. And when she does reply, her energy isn't the same, her answers are cold, distant, and lack the enthusiasm that once filled your conversations. This shift in communication isn't just a result of being busy, it's a deliberate pulling away. She no longer feels the need to maintain constant contact because her emotional involvement has faded. If you've noticed your conversations becoming shorter, less frequent, and increasingly one-sided, it's a clear sign she's emotionally distancing herself. One of the clearest signs of an impending breakup lies not in her words, but in what she withholds. Body language often speaks louder than any words. When she was emotionally invested in the relationship, her body naturally gravitated towards you. She sought closeness even in the most mundane moments. Perhaps she used to casually touch your arm when laughing at your jokes or lean in closer when you watched a movie together. Now, if these subtle gestures have vanished, it's not merely a coincidence. Her body language becomes closed off, she more frequently crosses her arms, avoids physical contact, and even turns away during conversations. These nonverbal cues indicate that she no longer feels an emotional or physical connection. When a woman decides to end a relationship, her body communicates what her words cannot. As a woman begins to emotionally distance herself, you'll notice she no longer includes you in her future plans. The days when she enthusiastically suggested joint outings with friends, exciting trips, or even just coffee dates are a thing of the past. Now, she's suddenly always busy or shows a clear lack of interest in spending time with you. When you try to propose any shared activity, her answers become evasive, maybe next week or I don't know yet. It's not that she's genuinely overloaded with tasks, she's simply avoiding spending her time with you because, in her mind, she's already checked out. This isn't just about cancelled or postponed dates, it's a consistent pattern of behavior. If she no longer shows enthusiasm for planning a future with you or fills her schedule without your involvement, it's a clear sign your relationship is nearing its end. Another significant indicator of a woman's fading interest is a shift in her attitude from warm and loving to critical and nitpicky. What she once laughed at or overlooked now becomes a source of irritation and displeasure. Small quirks of your personality that she once found endearing and charming now deeply bother her. If you notice her becoming increasingly critical of your actions, habits, or even your communication style, it's a troubling sign that her patience has worn thin. When she's no longer interested in preserving the relationship, she has no desire to fix or mend things. Instead, she starts looking for reasons why the relationship can no longer continue. This change in behavior may be subtle at first, but it soon escalates into constant criticism and nitpicking. If her tone has become sharper and her patience significantly reduced, it's a clear signal that she's emotionally disengaging. You'll notice her starting to dedicate more time to other relationships, whether with friends, family, or colleagues. This doesn't necessarily mean she's actively seeking a new romance, but her emotional energy is now directed outside your relationship. If she begins spending more time with other people and enthusiastically talks about them, while your relationship gradually takes a back seat, it's a clear signal that her priorities have shifted. And, unfortunately, you no longer hold the important place in her life you once did. When a woman emotionally distances herself, it doesn't always indicate physical infidelity, but it is an alarming sign. If her social circle shifts and there's no longer room for you, it could be a precursor to an imminent end to the relationship. One of the most obvious signs of a woman's loss of interest is her avoidance of discussing a shared future. In the past, you likely made plans, dreamed of travel, set common goals, and discussed the prospects for your relationship's development. However, these topics have now vanished from her radar. When a woman is emotionally involved, she shows a keen interest in a shared future and eagerly discusses prospects. But if she avoids such conversations, changes the subject, or gives evasive answers, it indicates that she no longer sees you in her future life. She has already started envisioning her existence without your involvement, which is precisely why conversations about the future cause her discomfort or seem irrelevant. There are 6 clear indicators that she's decided to break up. If you notice these changes, it's important to take a pause and objectively assess the state of your relationship. Such signals don't appear out of nowhere and indicate her feelings are fading. At this stage, it's not advisable to try to persuade her or cling to a fading connection. The best course of action is to respect her personal space, analyze the situation, and make a decision that is best for both of you. Sometimes, letting go is the only path to healthier and more promising relationships in the future.